Hi everyone and welcome to this week's GuitarQuest lesson. Hope you're all well. We will be continuing with GuitarQuest 4 as you probably expect, particularly if you've been following these lessons for a while. So before we get stuck into that, we are going to just check our tuning and that kind of thing. And before we do that even, just a couple of other things to think about, which would be if you are on a device that has notifications pinging away, then if you can turn them off, that'd be great because that gives us our dedicated half-an-hour guitar time. If there's any children watching, I recommend having an adult in the room just to help explain a few of the ideas, and just bring your attention to the chat function, which is available. So if you've got any questions as we go through, then please do feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go, or possibly save them to the end depending on what gets asked, obviously. Okay, so let's check. Start with checking our tuning. So I'm going to check that our bottom E string sounds the same as that. So just adjust your sixth string until that sounds the same. Then we're going to tune the A string. We're going to do it by ear. So you go to the sixth string, fifth fret. That's the note A, and we're going to make sure our open fifth string sounds the same. So you play that note, adjust the fifth string until it sounds the same, and then move on. So once you're happy, we go to the fifth string, fifth fret, which is the note D. We compare the fourth string to that. And again, when you're happy, you move on and you go to the fourth string at the fifth fret, which is the note G. That's the correct note. And so then we play an open G and we adjust that until it sounds the same. And then when we're happy with that, this is the only one that's different. We go to the fourth fret, on the G string. That's the note B. And we compare our open second string to that, and when we're happy that they're in tune, we then go to the fifth fret on the second string, which is the note E. That's now the correct note, at least in theory, and we compare our open first string to that note. Okay, so that's kind of how you tune by ear. We've been doing that for, well, the whole of GuitarQuest 4 actually, and the reason for doing that for so many lessons, this is week 24 now, it's just to kind of really reinforce that's how you do it, because we don't always have digital tuners available to us, so it's important to be able to do that. And once we have tuned by ear like that, we then need to just strum a few chords and have a listen and try and think, does it all sound right, and so on. So let's just strum a G chord, make sure it sounds kind of nice and clear. If anything sounds a little bit discordant or anything like that, then you just want to go back and double check things. Okay, let's try an E. Again, it should sound nice and clear, and then we'll go for a C. Okay, so obviously you can play any chords you like, and it's good to do that. It's good to try a few other chords, depending where your chord knowledge is at. Try some further up the fretboard and things like that. We haven't covered much of that sort of thing yet, so we're not going to worry about that. But that would be where you would take it if you know you're going to be playing around the fretboard a bit more. So let's continue then by kicking off with this chord arpeggio idea that we were playing the other week. So what we're going to do is take an A chord initially. We're going to pluck fifth string with a thumb, and then our three fingers on the right hand are going to play strings 1, 2, and 3, and that's going to be the same for each chord that we play. So our third finger plays the first string, then our middle finger plays the second string, and then our third finger plays, our first finger plays the third string. So third finger, middle finger, first finger. Okay, and that follows the thumb. So the thumb, and first string, second string, third string. And it's really, really important that we're using different fingers for each string, because that's what's going to enable us to pick the speed up and so on. If you do this kind of thing and just use the index finger each time, it'll sound okay, but it will never be quite right. So even if you find it difficult, try and make sure you're using different fingers for each string. So that's our A chord, and we play the root on the fifth string, and then we're going to go to the sixth string, and that's going to be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so our fingers just playing the same strings each time. It's just the thumb that's moving bass notes. Okay, and then we go to the D string, or the D chord, sorry. We're going to do the same again, but our thumb's going to go from the fourth string to the fifth string. And then when we go to E, we're going to go the other way around. This time we're going to go bottom E, then to the fifth string. And we do that like one set in each bar, if that makes sense. And then we're just going to go around it a couple of times. So it's going to be an A to a D to an E and back to an A, and then repeat. So okay, that's a quick kind of overview of it. We've played this for a few weeks now, so do check out some of the older lessons if that summary was a bit fast or anything like that. But yeah, let's start on the A chord. Okay, so start with the thumb on the 5th string. Here we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So the D chord, 4th string to 5th string. To E, 6th to 5th. Back to A. And it's 5th to 6th. We're going to stay on the A. And D. And then E. And back to A. We're going to stay on the A. We're going to go around again. We're going to go a little bit faster. To D. And E. And one more time, a little bit faster again. To D. Finish there. Okay, good. So obviously we picked up the speed a bit. Don't worry if you couldn't keep up. You know, it's that's just practice. It's technique. It's not really anything more than that. Just take your time with it and see how you go. So that's our kind of chord arpeggio practice. Good for the right hand, gets things moving. Now what we're going to do is revisit exercise 19 from GuitarQuest 4, which is the A natural minor scale but played in the 5th position. So we're going to start on the A here. I'll just play it through slowly. So we've got A, B, C. Then on the 5th string, D, E, F. We go to the 4th string for the G, and then A, and that's our octave. So A to A being the octave. And we carry on. We're going to drop to the 4th position to get the B. We get the C at the 5th fret, pinky gets the D at the 7th, and then we're going to come back to the 5th position and we play 5th fret, 6th, 8th, and then the 1st string at the 5th, and that's our A again, so that's our next octave. So if I just demonstrate. We drop to the 4th position, back to the 5th, and then we're going to come back down. Okay, so this is really good practice because obviously we've been working on notes in the 5th position. So good practice for playing in the 5th position. And if you can, try and say the note names out loud, just to try and really associate what you're actually playing and not just thinking it's the A natural minor scale, but I don't really have a clue what I'm doing. I'm just playing it because this guy on YouTube told me to. Try and think like A natural minor is all the natural notes, all the white notes on the piano. So if we can then associate the notes we're playing with what they actually are, then life just becomes a bit easier further down the line. So at least that's the plan anyway. So all right, let's start off with that A then, 6th string 5th fret. So after 4, yes, so 3, 4. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Go an octave higher there, got an E again, F, G, and then A, and come back, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay, so well done if you managed to play along, give yourself a pat on the back. Yeah, like I said, it's just knowing the fretboard is just so important. So the more you can reinforce this sort of thing, the better. Okay, we're now going to move on. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a little digression. Is that a word? Not sure. Anyway, we had a go at Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. So we're just going to review that a little bit. We're not going to go into it in too much detail because the lesson 2 weeks ago was entirely spent on that. So we're just going to have a go. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you've got the music already. So yeah, we'll take it nice and slow. Okay, we're just going to play the intro. So it's the first 4 lines of the handout that's available. So if I just demonstrate the first line, it'll be this kind of speed. And so on. Okay, so let's try it together. Just the intro. So the first 4 lines of the handout. Here we go. Okay, so 3 and 4 and. Second line. Third line. Fourth line. Okay, so again, hopefully that's gone okay. Really only covering it because we played it a couple of weeks ago. It's a very different challenge. It probably is technically a little bit harder than anything we've played to date, but I don't think it's like way out of what we've done. So so hopefully you're okay with that anyway. So when you play the verses, it's just that main riff going round and round in circles. And then we get the chorus. So I'm gonna we're just gonna have to quick get that. I'm just turning the pages there. So when we play the chorus, no, that's not quite the right page. Excuse me a second. Okay, so we start on the C chords, then we're going to go to G, E minor, D. The C chord has a slightly different strumming pattern, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the other 3 bars, it's just I described this as the world's most common strumming pattern, however you want to think about it, but the down, down, up, up, down. And same on E minor, same on D. And then as we come on to the next line, so bar 13, this is where it gets a little bit more tricky because we've got a change on that first up strum from a C to a G. So we go down, down, up, down, and then D is normal. We repeat that bit. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what we're going to do. We're going to try that in a second. Obviously, if you're a bit unsure, just watch the lesson from 2 weeks back because that has this. We go through it in much more detail. So yeah, and that's all available on my YouTube channel. So just check it out. It'll be in the GuitarQuest 4 playlist, week 22, I think it is. So or lesson 22 anyway. Okay, so let's try it from the chorus then, starting on that C chord. Here we go. Okay, so 3, 4. It's G, E minor, D, quicker change, and C to G, D, C, D. Okay, and that's pretty much the whole song. So you've got the main riff and that bit that gets played in the chorus. As I say, we talked about it in a lot of detail a couple of weeks back, so please do check that one out. We're going to move on from that today. I just really wanted to just go back over it just to kind of make sure, well, just so it didn't feel like we just did that one thing and just left it hanging really. So we probably won't do that anymore. I think we've sort of covered it enough. So we're going to go to exercise 23 in GuitarQuest 4. And exercise 23 is basically exercises 21 and 22, but played with swing. So we are going to start with exercise 21 and play that with swing. Again, we've covered this for a few weeks now, so I'm just going to go straight into it. If you've got any questions, obviously do ask, but otherwise, let's try it. So lots of arpeggio kind of practice on the right hand. So all that stuff we did at the start of today's lesson should hopefully help with this, because the fingers are going to be sort of loosened up a little bit. Just remember, with the swing feel, rather than being like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, it's going to be a bit more sort of skippy, so that kind of sound. Okay, so let's try it together. So after 4, okay, so remember all the repeats as well. I'll talk you through as we go, but yeah, I think hopefully it's clear. So here we go. After 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. F sharp and G. Back to F sharp. Back to the beginning to the E. And F sharp. String 3rd, to B, 2nd fret, open A, back to B, repeat back to C, R5, B, to A, and B. We're going to go back to the beginning. F sharp and G and F sharp, and then the coda, bottom E, 2, and then top 3 strings together. Okay, brilliant. So again, give yourself a pat on the back if that went well. That'll be one we'll be moving on from now, because we have played that for a couple of weeks. Again, just very good technique practice. So we're going to have a look at exercise 22. This is the melody that goes with 21, and again it's played with swing. So we just want to try and make sure, if I demonstrate the first couple of bars, we just want to make sure we're getting that kind of slightly bouncy, skippy kind of feel. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, and so on. So structure wise it's exactly the same. We're back in the 5th position, so practicing all these notes, you know, that hence playing like the A natural minor scale earlier. Hopefully it just sort of reinforces some of those notes. But yeah, let's try it together then. So we'll go a bit slower than how I just demonstrated it. So after 4, okay, so 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, and back to the beginning, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Bar 5 again. 2, 3, and beginning again, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, coda, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good stuff. So a couple of very contrasting kind of ideas, but from a kind of guitar playing perspective, what you've got is like a lead part, like the melody, exercise 22, and then the accompanying part, which is 21. You know, and if you ever play with like other guitarists, then it's very, very common for one of you to be playing a rhythm kind of thing, something chordy probably, and then someone else will be doing some lead playing. It might be a solo or it might be a melody of some sort. So yeah, that sort of structure is very, very common and something you want to try and get used to if possible. So we're going to go on to exercise 24, Dusty Road. This is a chord idea that we talked about the other week. It's similar to the arpeggios again that we played at the start. So we're going to play, starting on the A minor, so an open 5th string, and we pluck the top 3 strings together twice, and then our bass note's going to change. We go to the 6th string, and then we play the top 3 again together to get this kind of sound. And then we're going to go to C, but really it's C over G, which basically means we're going to play a C chord, which is normally that, but we're going to make G the lowest note. So what we want to do is move the 3rd finger to the 6th string and replace the 5th string one with the pinky finger. So you can play then the 5th string to the 6th string, and then bar 4, we do the 5th string to the 4th string. Then we come to a G. And you play either G, like 3 or 4 fingers, doesn't really matter. So we go 6th string to the 5th string, and then D. We're going to then, so it starts the same, 4th string to the 5th string, and then we just chuck in those extra couple notes at the end before going back round and playing it again. And then the very final bar is just an open 5th string, and then we strum an A minor chord at that point. So hopefully that makes sense. We did go over this one last week, so I think the kind of like what you've got to do in practice isn't too bad, as long as you're okay with you know, these kind of, I don't want to say basic chords, but these are like the chords you learn when you start guitar. So if you've been playing for a bit, you've probably covered these chords. But if not, you know, just take the time with them, and they'll get easier. So I'll say as well, if you're not comfortable switching the bass notes around on beats 3 of each bar, just stay on the same note that was on beat 1. So for example, you could just stay on an A minor 5th string and just stay on that one, and then same on the C, just stay on the 5th string, and so on. But if you are comfortable moving the thumb around to create this bass line effect, then I would thoroughly recommend to do it, because it really just kind of brings things to life a little bit more. Okay, so let's try it together with the repeat. So after 4, here we go. So 3, 4. C over G. G, and then D, and D, C, back to A minor, so 5th string, 6th, C to the 6th string, 5th to the 4th, so our G and the 6th string, 5th, 6th, 5th, D is the 4th, 5th, 4th, 2 notes, and then open 5th, and a strum on the A minor. Great stuff. Okay, so there is another challenge we can do with that, which we might do next week. But what I'd really like to do is turn the page and get on to power chords, or 5th chords, as they are also known. You may have come across this kind of thing before, but if not, we're going to go through it in as much detail is required, really. So power chords are an interesting kind of thing. people might even dispute whether they're chords or not, 'cause really a chord should have 3 notes, and a power chord has actually only got 2 different notes. So it's just 2 notes together. But they're used extensively in rock playing. They're not really major or minor because of the way they're constructed. So yeah, they're very common. And I found teaching, if people, for example, a B minor chord comes up or something like that, and they're not really comfortable with it, you could play a B5 power chord, which is a little bit easier. And so, you know, if you see a chord that comes up, you don't know how to play it, you might be able to play a power chord instead, and it kind of just gets you through whatever that chord progression is. So it's basically just a shape that we make with our left hand. We're going to practice by starting with putting our first finger at the 6th string at the 5th fret, and then your 3rd finger to the 5th string at the 7th fret, and you play those 2 together. So looking at page 16, in fact, if I bring that up onto the screen, we are looking basically at this chord here, but we're just going to position ourselves such that this is the 5th fret and this is the 7th fret. So hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, do ask if it doesn't. So 6th string 5th fret, 5th string 7th, play them together. It's quite important that you go with the 3rd finger and the 1st finger at this stage. You could do it with the 1st and the 2nd fingers, but there's kind of merits to both. I would just go 1st and 3rd to begin with. It makes the stretch a little bit easier as much as anything. So that's your easiest way of playing it. And then if you can, you want to add your pinky finger to the 4th string 7th fret. So now we've got the notes A, E, A. So though we're playing three strings, 3 notes, 2 of them are repeated, which is an A in this case. And so you get that sound. So whenever you see a power chord, you could either do the 2-string version or the 3-string version. So when you're comfortable with it, you'll probably go with the 3-string version, so that if you're strumming, if you accidentally catch that 4th string, you're sort of covered because it's a note that fits within the chord and it's going to sound fine. So, okay. Now the beauty with these chords is that you can just, there's no open strings, so we can just move them up and down the fretboard. So if this is, well, taking a step back, what we need to know is our root notes on the 6th string. So our root note of the chord is where the 1st finger lands. And we know that this is the note A. We also know this is the note G, hopefully, so the 6th string 3rd fret. So if you make the same shape, this time you'd be at frets 3 and 5, you now get a G5 chord. So A5, G5. If you came down to the 1st fret, so you're at frets 1 and 3 now, this would be an F5 chord. Okay, so so that's basically the principle. And again, if I bring the music up onto the screen, this is what our root notes here are. So if this is the kind of the root note of the chord, wherever you put that on this fretboard diagram here, that's going to tell you what it is. So you know, we played at the 1st fret, it's an F. When we were at the 3rd fret, it's a G. When we were at the 5th fret, it was an A, or an A5, I should say. 7th fret is a B, 8th fret C, 10th fret D, and 12th fret would be E again. So you can hopefully sort of see the power of what this enables you to do. It's like one shape can now play. 1st fret is F, 3rd fret is G, 5th fret is A, 7th fret is B, 8th fret C, 10th fret D, 12th fret E. You probably rarely ever play it up here, to be honest, but you could do. And remember E5 as well, you can play down here. It's basically the E minor shape, but you have to avoid the top 3 strings, so it's only those 3. Otherwise, yeah, it becomes E minor, which has a slightly different quality to it. So yeah, that's that. We'll have a quick look at the root notes on the 5th string. It's exactly the same kind of principle. It's the same shape. So I just seen a comment, I struggle with G. One thing I should mention as well, the reason why we started up here at the 5th fret is because the frets are fractionally closer together. If you start down here, which is quite common, but the frets are a little bit wider apart, you're right up close to the nut, so you've got to push down a little bit harder. So it's a little bit more difficult to play down here, I would say. So come up to the to some of the higher frets. If your wrist is hurting a bit, try coming up to maybe like C at the 8th fret or D at the 10th. So the frets are that little bit closer together. So hopefully it just the stretch is taken out of it so much, and you can then hopefully make that shape. You might find you get a bit of an ache through the left hand. This is kind of a precursor to playing bar chords, which we will talk about at some point soon, probably once we finish GuitarQuest 4. And when you play bar chords, you basically put your finger across lots of strings, and you can end up getting kind of a bit of an ache sort of through various parts of the hand. It's quite normal. Hopefully that won't happen too much with playing power chords, but it could. So if you are getting a bit of pain, so you've just seen that in the comment, just take it very gently and gradually, and yeah, maybe try practicing higher up the fretboard a little bit, or wherever feels most comfortable, really. Yeah, and just do it in short bursts, so you're not putting yourself under too much pressure initially, and then it'll start to strengthen up, and hopefully it should all be fine. So we're pretty much out of time, but I'd just like to cover the idea of power chords on the 5th string. It's exactly the same shape. So say we were at the 5th fret again. This time we go 5th string 5th and 4th string 7th. We can do the first shape, or we could add our pinky finger to the 3rd string 7th and get those three strings. And again, if I bring the music up onto the screen, so if we go on to page 17, you can see we've got the same chord shapes, or they look the same, but notice here we're on the 6th string, and then as we come on to page 17, we move our root note onto the 5th string. And then here's our fretboards. So these are all our root notes on the 5th string. So B at the 2nd fret, C at the 3rd, D at the 5th, and so on. So again, we haven't got any open strings. So if we're playing with a root note down at the 2nd fret, that's a B5, C5 would be 3rd fret, D5, 5th, E5 at the 7th, F5 at the 8th, and G5 at the 10th. And in theory, you get A at the 12th, but you probably more like to play it down here. So if you're playing A down here, it'd be the 4th string 2nd fret and 3rd string 2nd fret. Okay, so we'll probably leave it there. We haven't got on the next exercise is all practice to do with power chords, but I think maybe that's a good place to leave it. So what you want to do in terms of this thing is just try and get initially that first shape down, and then if it's comfortable, add the pinky finger so you can get the 3-note power chord going. Excuse me. Yeah, and just kind of just try and get used to it and see if you can start moving around. Just, that's nothing in particular, but it's just moving your hand around and being comfortable with the idea that this shape is just going up and down the fretboard. And the thing to watch out for is when you're up here, obviously your hand has to be a little bit more squashed up than when you're down here. So so again, just things to kind of have in your mind and practice a little bit. So don't think you need to stay in one area. Aside from if you're getting any wrist pain or whatever, as mentioned, just do whatever feels comfortable at this stage. Okay, right. I think I've waffled on enough about that. So we'll dive into that in a little bit more detail again next week. But for today, let's leave that there. So things to practice this week then. So we'll keep going with our arpeggios warm up. That's a good thing. We might introduce a couple of other chords and try playing about with those. Exercise 19, so that A natural minor scale in the 5th position. That's a good one. Say the note names out loud so that you are really reinforcing what notes you're playing in that area of the fretboard. We'll keep going with exercise 24, and then just practice these shapes for the power chords and see how you get on with them. And then we'll put that into exercise 25 next week, which is going to be moving these shapes around to make a kind of a backing tune to another exercise effectively. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. As I say, we'll leave it there for today. So if you enjoyed the lesson, please do give it a thumbs up, share it around, let anybody you know who you think may be interested. There's plenty of content on there now. I think this is week 88. So yeah, please do share away. Yeah, if you're feeling confident, if you want to record yourself playing anything and tag me in it, then please do so. And hopefully I will get the time I can give you some feedback on it and so on. So yeah, but let's leave it there. So we'll be back again same time next week, so 9th of July. So very best luck with the practice this week. Have a great weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. All right, take care everybody. Bye bye.